Imagine your life 5 years from now. Are you still practicing medicine, or have you found a new path that brings you more joy and fulfillment? If you've ever questioned whether medicine is still the right career for you, you've come to the right place. My name is Christina and I'm a junior doctor working in London. In this video, we're going to go through a 5-step framework that will guide you in making the decision that's best for you. We will break down key elements underpinning job satisfaction, delve into push and pull factors, explore your options, and create a decision-making matrix, all while being aware of our inherent biases. Whether you're burnt out, unfulfilled, or just curious about what else is out there, this video will help you navigate this challenging decision. Let's get started. Step 1. Clarity. Assessing your current situation. Making an informed decision that we are less likely to regret requires self-reflection. We need to revisit our core values, goals, and motivations, and make sure that our current role still aligns with them. Start by asking yourself these 3 questions. What attracted you to medicine initially? Was it helping others, the fascination with the human body, an intellectual challenge, prestige, money? Are these motivations, goals, and aspirations the same, or have they changed? For example, do you value work-life balance more now, or flexibility, autonomy, creativity? Does the reality of your job match the expectations that you had when entering the profession? For example, there might be more admin than you expected, or less patient contact. Next, let's briefly explore a few theories that will help us understand our current job satisfaction. You have probably already heard about Maslow's theory, which can actually also be applied to the workplace. It suggests that job satisfaction comes from fulfilling a set of hierarchical needs, starting from physiological and safety needs and going all the way up to self-esteem, belonging, and self-actualization. For example, financial security would be physiological, a safe and supportive environment would be safety, meaningful interactions with colleagues and patients will lead to a sense of belonging, recognition and respect will give us esteem, and professional growth and personal development will lead to a sense of self-actualization. So, does your current role meet these needs? Herzberg's 2-factor theory divides job factors into hygiene and motivators. Hygiene factors such as salary, work conditions, and job security do not necessarily lead to satisfaction, but can cause dissatisfaction if they're inadequate. Motivators such as recognition, responsibility, and the work itself lead to job satisfaction when they are present. Are your hygiene factors being met? Do you have strong motivators? The self-determination theory suggests that job satisfaction increases when employees feel autonomous, competent, and connected to others. Does your job make you feel like this? And finally, the job characteristics model proposes there are 5 core characteristics: variety, identity, significance, autonomy, and feedback, which in turn affect 3 core psychological states: meaningfulness, responsibility, and knowledge of results. Are these characteristics being met in your current role? A health check is also essential, especially with the high demands, high pressure, and long hours associated with being a doctor. We need to be careful with how it's affecting our mental and physical health. Burnout, as we all know, is particularly common in healthcare workers, and it can manifest as emotional exhaustion, depersonalization, and a reduced sense of personal accomplishment. Imposter syndrome is also widespread, leading to doubts about our own abilities and our own worth, despite evidence that we're doing just fine. Doctors, unfortunately, also have a higher rate of anxiety, depression, and even suicide. If you have any mental health struggles, can this be addressed by self-care, support, or therapy? Or is your job significantly contributing to your health problems? If the latter is the case, it might be a strong indicator that you need to leave the job or at least take a break. Step 2. Categories. Let's move on to push and pull factors, which can also be divided into external versus internal and long-term versus short-term. Push factors stem from an underlying unhappiness or unmet expectations with our job, which are pushing us to leave. External push factors are influences that are not under our control, which are making staying in our current job less desirable. This could be organizational issues such as understaffing, lack of resources, limited career growth, or systemic problems within the healthcare system. Long-term external push factors could be persistent issues such as inadequate funding that in turn lead to higher workloads and us not being able to provide the patient care that we want to. Short-term external push factors might be sudden changes such as new management policies. Internal push factors are more personal and relate to our own feelings and circumstances. Long-term internal push factors could include burnout, a bad work-life balance, or a feeling of stagnation in our career. Short-term internal push factors might involve immediate stress stemming from a particularly challenging case or conflict with our co-workers. Now think about your push factors. Are your push factors only temporary? Can your push factors be resolved? If they can, it might mean that it's unnecessary to leave the job. However, a lot of external push factors are actually really deep-rooted and harder to address. Pull factors are the benefits or attractors, either perceived or actual, of moving to a new job. External push factors include attractive opportunities outside our current job. For example, a higher paying position, the possibility of moving to a different geographical location, or a role that offers more autonomy and a better work environment. Internal pull factors relate to personal aspirations and desires, ambitions and goals. Long-term internal push factors might involve a long-held dream about transitioning to a more creative role with more autonomy and flexibility. Short-term internal pull factors might include the excitement of taking a new challenge, the desire for a fresh start after a difficult period, or a change of pace. Think about your pull factors. Are they realistic and feasible? Are they sustainable? For example, a higher paying job might seem attractive, but it may come with higher stress, the need to relocate, or require retraining or further study, and might also be very competitive to get into. Be careful with unrealistic expectations, as they can lead to dissatisfaction even in your new role, as well as disappointment or regret. So it is important to weigh the potential benefits against the practical challenges. Step 3 is choices. So our next step is to understand and explore the alternatives and choices that we have. One option would be to stay in medicine and improve. For example, you could consider changing specialties, changing department or hospitals, going less than full-time, or seeking the support of occupational health or your educational supervisor. Another option would be to practice medicine elsewhere, and that could either be the private sector versus the NHS, or it could be moving abroad, as different countries will have different push and pull factors, for example, different work-life balance, and different organizational issues. You could also transition within medicine by taking up non-clinical roles, such as education, research, management, and policymaking. Then we've got the option of taking a temporary break. This could be used as a trial period to see whether you prefer being out of medicine. And this can either be done through an out-of-program experience if you're a trainee, or by taking a sabbatical if you're a consultant. You could also do something alongside medicine. This could be a side hustle that you're hoping will become a career, or it could just be a hobby that you're really committing to. And the final option, of course, is to leave medicine completely. And if you do this, there's so many choices of what you could do. A lot of articles focus on alternative careers for doctors that are things such as healthcare consultancy or pharma or medical writing. But really, if you leave medicine, you don't necessarily need to find a job or a career that's still related to medicine or being a doctor. It could really be anything. So take some time to analyze your skills and what you can offer. A lot of the skills that we learn in medicine are really transferable and will actually be really valuable in other careers too. So don't sell yourself short. Also, if there's certain skills that are really valuable and sought after in the field that you want to go into, you can always learn this and try researching the market opportunities that are out there. Step 4 is concepts, so understanding behavioral influences. So let's look at biases that might get in the way of us making the decision that's truly best for us. So one common decision-making bias is confirmation bias, where we seek out information that supports our null hypothesis, for example, our desire to leave medicine or our desire to stay in medicine, and we ignore the evidence that contradicts it. For example, you might be focusing on colleagues that have left medicine and are happier now, but disregarding those that have found ways of making medicine work for them. Another is the status quo bias, which is a preference for keeping things as they are, even if change might lead to a better outcome. For example, you might be really unhappy with the work-life balance in your current job, but not really be doing anything to change it. There's also decision paralysis. which is when you're unable to make a decision due to overthinking, excessive analysis, or just feeling overwhelmed by having too many options. An example of this is having difficulty choosing a medical specialty. Then we've got biases related to change and risk. The sunk cost fallacy is a bias that makes us continue our current course of action because of the resources that we have already spent on it, be it time, effort, or money. For example, we might be very clear that we really want to leave medicine, but still not do it so that we don't feel that we've wasted all those years and money training. There's also loss aversion, where we tend to fear losses more than we value gains, meaning that we might overestimate the negative consequences of leaving our job but underestimate the potential benefits. There's also the issue of identity, and as a doctor, it's likely that our professional identity is part of who we are. So considering our departure from this role will create cognitive dissonance, which is a mental discomfort caused by holding two conflicting ideas in our head. For example, you might have thought that medicine was going to be a really rewarding and fulfilling career, and society might have made you feel like you should be grateful for having such a desirable job. However, you're really not enjoying being a doctor, and it's having a negative effect on your mental health. But we might still rationalize staying in our job by downplaying our dissatisfaction. The medical community also has its own set of norms and expectations. For example, the sense of duty and self-sacrifice, the normalization of stress, and the expectation doctors should be dedicated to the career above all else, which can make leaving medicine even more difficult and feel like a betrayal. And the final step, step 5, is conclusions. So in order to put all of this together and make an informed decision, we're going to create a decision-making matrix. On one side of it, we're going to put the two options that we're considering, for example, staying in medicine and leaving medicine, or staying in medicine and going less than full-time. And on the other side of the table, we're going to put the key dimensions that we've identified as being important for us. That could be well-being, professional fulfillment, and financial stability. Then we're going to assign weights to each dimension depending on how important they are for us. Then we're going to write the pros and cons of leaving and the pros and cons of staying, and assign scores for the different pros and cons. We're then going to use this to generate total scores so that we can compare the benefits and the challenges of both options in a more rational way and not just rely on an emotional reaction or instinct. This will hopefully give you more clarity and certainty in the decision that you're committing to. Also, I think it would be really useful to speak to your colleagues, families and friends, get some professional guidance and also some coaching. Of note, if you're a BMA member, you can get some sessions of coaching for free. Okay, good. So once we've committed to a decision, the next step will be to come up with an action plan. So it's important to be strategic with your timing, because it may be easier to take a break or leave medicine at certain points in your career. For example, a natural break is after F2, and I would really advise for everyone to finish F1 so that you're fully registered, and like that, if you at some point want to go back into medicine, you can. Other good times might be between core and specialty training or after CCT. Make sure you're also preparing for the transition and taking practical considerations into account. There will be professional considerations such as researching opportunities, having a look at market competition, creating a CV that's adapted to the particular field you're applying to, networking, talking to peers, completing any training or qualifications that you need to. Then we've got the financial considerations. So making sure that you've got enough savings to survive for the few months that it might take you to get into a new career, or making sure that you've got a job offer before you leave medicine. This is particularly important if you've got a family or people that depend on you financially, or if you've got a big event coming up such as a wedding, buying a house, or having a child. It might be a good idea to stay in the hospital bank so that you can do any locums if you need a bit of extra cash, and to seek the opinion of a financial advisor. In terms of the social considerations, obviously make sure that you talk to your family and you consider any impact that it might have on them. Hopefully they're on board and ready for the change too. If you're in training, you should also speak to your TPD and your educational supervisor to understand the practicalities and process of leaving medicine, and have a look at your contract to see if there's any break clauses that you need to fulfill. Hopefully this video has been useful and it's provided you with a systematic framework to weigh your options, and with tools and strategies that give you some clarity and confidence in the decision that you're making. There will be a free resource in the description below with some more information and questions that might help you with your decision. Please make sure to leave your own tips and opinions in the comments. Thanks so much for watching.